8 to 4, then working 10 to 8, then working 3 to close. Then you're off for 2 days.
There you go,
Then
man.
it's
See?
12 to 8, then it's 10 to 8, then it's 10 to 8.
Somebody take the needle off the record, please.
Oh, I don't pay for suits. My suits are on the outs, or the house burns down.
Welcome back to the Red Right Hand Podcast, the show that covers each and every single episode of the Peaky Blinders. I'm Josh.
And I'm Curtis.
And we are back for season 4, episode 2. Do you remember what this one was titled? Last one was The Noose.
This one's called The Heathens. And I'd just like to give a shout out to Adobe Flash Player for being a sponsor because apparently it likes to interrupt your computer and now it wants to interrupt my computer. So, hey, Adobe Flash Player, you better pay us, man, because you're screwing this up for us.
It's infectious.
Anyway, it's good now, though. Yeah, it's called The Heathens. Don't you like the fact that they come up with the names and we don't have to anymore?
Oh my God, this is so much better. I would have just called this one like Aberama Gold or something.
Yeah. I just never still trying to wonder like why they didn't start from the very beginning doing that. And like, or like the opposite is like, why did they wait till like the 4th season and be like, hey, we should probably put some names of these?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not expecting you to have an answer. I'm just like throwing it out and be like, yeah, I just always wondered, what their thinking was, but
yeah, I don't know. It is weird though that I could see the first season not having names or something, but
right,
4
but like
seasons in before they start putting names on them.
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, like I said, it's like, why did you? If you waited 4 seasons in, why start now then? But I don't know.
Was that when they got picked up from BBC by Netflix? Maybe.
Maybe so. Yeah, I don't know. Could be possible.
But last episode we saw the end of the episode was John and Michael both getting shot by the Italians. And so this episode starts off, and at first I thought it was all kind of happening real time. But I kind of, after watching it again, it looks like it's Tommy's like memory of the stuff that followed after that, when they took Michael to the hospital, when they went to go see John's body.
I just know, like, every time you start looking up, I'm like, up. Somehow he got up there again.
Yeah. But I think as he's remembering it, it's only like maybe like a day or so later. Like it's not.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is about a day, maybe like the day after.
Yeah,
he's just kind of recounting the day before.
Yeah.
As he has his morning bath.
His morning bath?
Well, he ends up getting in the bathtub right after that.
Oh, I didn't even notice. He was just like standing there staring out the window.
Well, he does that, and then he, once all that memory, ends and the opening title, card or whatever pops on, he's like getting in the tub after that. And it's always weird to me because then like Finn busts in, he's like, hey, they're gathered, they're here for the family meeting. It's like, I just got in the tub, man. Seriously.
Yeah. So we see what happened there. Oh my God. Oh, you want to talk about the rest of that scene?
Are we talking before Like when he's talking about the memories. So if we're talking about the memories, of course, it was the whole thing of, hey, this is the Curtis Show. Welcome to the Curtis Show. We're gonna talk about some stuff today, and yeah. So anyway, no, were you talking about before? It's like when he's thinking about the memories when he's just staring out the window, or after that?
Yeah, I mean, what he was thinking about, because it was like what was going on at the hospital.
Right, because with stuff with Michael, and then the stuff with, of course, the whole memory of like, well, it's not really his memory is just like a flashbacks of what happened in the last episode of John getting shot and Michael getting shot, and then Michael being rushed to the hospital, and of course, Polly's there and she's freaking out, and she ends up yelling at Tommy because he's got, I don't know if was Finn one of those two boys. I didn't think Finn was one of those two guys he
No,
had, but
no,
she basically didn't want people. She called them kids that would kill just for sport. She wanted real men who served, um, not somebody that's just there for the, I joined this gang to be cool, or whatever. It's, she wanted people who are hardened and actually have been through killing other people in the war and such. And then you
yeah,
got the whole thing with um, Tommy and Arthur in the morgue,
yeah,
identifying the body and kind of going through their whole thing, that we actually talked about. I think I talked about it back in the mini-sode about, and they talk a little bit more here at the family meeting too, about the time that they were all trapped, surrounded by the enemy in after a retreat. Um, and they had no guns, no bullets left, and they were just kind of basically left to die. And they had that saying of that song, "In the bleak midwinter." He's trying to get Arthur to say it, but it's like Arthur just, it's almost like he feels like if he says it, he's letting John go. And he's desperately holding on to John for sure, but
yeah,
he's having a lot more of a hard time than, definitely Tommy is. Of course, Tommy, we talked about it before. It's like, he's always got his mind on, I mean, of course, he's already lost Grace too, and so he's had to go through that. And I'm sure he's lost a lot of friends in the war and such, and so he's hardened by that. And it's just like, we gotta move on, man. We made this promise that we would say this, we would do this. We have to move on, and that's harder for Arthur, especially since it's his brother, and they did a lot of stuff together, when they were doing, the operations in the first and second season, even the third season. So he spent a lot of time with him too. So it was definitely hard for Arthur. So
yeah, yeah. I would say maybe that Arthur and John were a little bit closer, maybe even than Tommy and either of them.
yeah, I agree. But I think definitely
Um,
after this, well, starting in this season is, I think you see a lot of growth between the relationship with John or Arthur and Tommy, kind of getting closer, of course, being, without John now. And then the cool thing too, I feel like, is you get to see the rise of Finn kind of coming into his own as the fourth brother.
yeah.
So
um, Esme also comes to see John. Um,
I forgot about that.
she
Yeah.
she takes all his rings and basically all his valuables. But she says that their stuff's going to stay with them. She's going to take the kids and they're going to get out of there. Um, yeah, like you were saying, Finn comes in to tell Tommy that everybody's been gathered um, at the family meeting. Um, Tommy just kind of lays it out for everybody, the damage, um, what kind of danger they're in, who's coming for them, um, new allies that he's partnered up with, Aberama Gold, to help them take down Luca's crew, or the Italian mafia.
Which I think was definitely a better choice than, picking people from the Lee family, which did not sit well with, Johnny Dogs, because he called
Yeah.
them savages. And he's like, at this point, I need savages because that's who we're fighting, basically.
Yeah.
I need some people with an edge.
Yeah. Need some crazies.
Mhm.
Um, and then the other little bit of the conversation there is just the peace treaty. That the only way they're all going to get through this and survive is if they all kind of come together on this. And yeah, they got to stand together. Everybody's got to stay in Small Heath and keep it close.
Yeah.
So then they just they start arming everybody up. I don't know if that's, I mean, it's all the men in their employ, but that was a lot of people that they were like handing
Well,
out guns to. And
right. But like you said, it's like within a span of, I don't even know how many blocks or miles. He said in Birmingham, it's like every man is a soldier, So I'm sure they put out the words like, hey, if you're, willing to come on out,
yeah.
But you're right. I mean, that was a lot of people.
I liked how Charlie was like the way he was checking everybody was if they had their hair cut, like if their hair was cut the same way. And that one guy who came up and was bald, and then he asked him the soccer question, and who their goalkeeper was, to test him.
Yeah. It makes me think of, there's an old Monty Python sketch where it was like a round table question with a bunch of like communist leaders throughout the years. And like they thought they were going to be asking like, hardcore questions about like politics or whatever. And like the questions they're asking him is like, who played for Liverpool in the championship season of such and such. Of course, they're all just like, I don't know. But
I've never seen that.
yeah, it's just kind of a short one. I mean, it's not like hilarious, but it just kind of made me think of that.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting way to, or a unique way, I guess, to make sure somebody's, straight and not trying to, cheat you or whatever, or try to
Yeah.
infiltrate.
Then they have John's funeral. Tommy's had it set up out in this open area, where they're, it's almost
We're
like
sitting
too
ducks.
obvious,
Right.
like, yeah, they're having this funeral out in the middle of a field where there's trees around them. And then they burn John. They give him the old Viking funeral and burn burn him up in the caravan. It was weird that they gave him like a super gypsy send off,
Yeah.
Like, I know they're Romani, but not like, it's not like Esme died.
No, but maybe he just kind of felt like because he married into that family too, that he felt more gypsy.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't know. Because it felt like, I mean, I feel like she kind of instilled a lot into him, as their years went by, as they grew older together. Like sands in the hourglass.
um but it's all John's funeral is basically a ploy to draw people out who are looking for them. So two guys who I think Tommy just said that they were just two Italian guys, right? They're not even a part of like the crew. They were just trying.
they
They heard
just
about the
heard-
vendetta and they just wanted to make a
yeah.
name for themselves.
Yep.
So those two guys get set up to take a shot, and Tommy can see it. Like he can see what's happening over there. These guys are terrible. Like they're horrible assassins. And before they can get a shot off, Aberama Gold and his son Bonnie. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bonnie. Both come up and take out the two guys. Bonnie shoots one of them, and Aberama stabs the other one like 5 or 6 times. It's
I
pretty
was gonna say
brutal.
about 10 or 12 times.
Okay, yeah, maybe more. He did give him quite
Yeah.
a few.
Well, I mean, like he definitely showed the savage in him,
Yeah.
for sure. Because it's like, I mean, it was bad enough he just like came up behind him and was like, Shh. He's like, a little more, just in case there, man.
Yeah, well, they're definitely trying to send a message. Because he was going to dump the bodies, right? They're going to dump the bodies somewhere so that they'd be found.
Yeah, because he told Curly later on, he's like, remember, don't dig too deep, or whatever you want the message to be sent across, want them to be found, basically.
Yeah. And that'll be their kind of first strike back. I put a note on here that just said, Polly, shut up.
Thank you.
Because she is just so overbearing for the first half of this episode. Like, actually, most of the episode, like up until the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like too much. It's that constant like person who knows what they got themselves into in in these stories. There's always someone who eventually can't handle it, and they just become this like incessant nagging like, no, this is over, like I'm getting us out of here. And it's like, okay, well then either go or shut up about it.
Right,
And
exactly. Because you're
yeah,
still
and she
here,
hasn't
so
gone. Yeah. And so yeah, it's at least dude with Linda, she left. Like they left,
right.
but Polly the whole time has just been like staying around, and she'll fall into her vices for a while and basically be, not really complicit, but I guess she just doesn't care as much.
Yeah.
And yeah. But anyway, so speaking of Linda, Linda says that she's going to go home. She's going to go back to their home in the country. Everybody, well, not everybody, but Linda and Polly are both pretty upset about everything going on in general, but about what's happened at the funeral too. So yeah, Linda says she wants to go home, but Arthur says their home is there now. Ada talks with her. Ada gives her a pretty stern, you're gonna go back to Small Heath talk. Yeah, I don't know. It's just funny to watch Ada too, like how much she's like
Come back
changed
around.
over the course of last few seasons. So then Polly goes to see Michael at the hospital, and again, it's just her like constantly, we're gonna run away. We're gonna go to Australia. There won't be any Italians there. We're gonna
There's no Italians in Australia.
Yeah, and she's just not listening to Michael. Like he's trying to talk to her about business. Yeah, and she's just not hearing him. But Michael says he needs to talk to Tommy. He's trying to figure out how things are going, if everybody's back together. Um, and I put down, what was the line I put down? Oh yeah, I like the line that Michael gave when he finally got her to calm down a little bit. And he said, I'm gonna get better slowly, but you have to get better quickly because Tommy needs you. Like we need him to win this war, and he needs you to put him in the mental place to win that war.
Right. Yeah. Because without her, he breaks down, and without him, she breaks down too.
Yeah. I mean, she's an integral part of the business too. Like
Yeah.
they need each other. She's definitely like a mother figure to him, you know. But also she's a huge part of the business because she ran the business the entire time they were away at war.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, she like they need her. She's a big part of that. And mentally for Tommy, like she's got to get him thinking clearly to do what he needs to do. Um, you want to talk about the Charlie's Yard scene?
Which part are you talking about? The one with Aberama?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's another part I thought was pretty funny later on. So it's
Yeah,
like
with
he's just
what's
like
her face?
with what's her? Oh no, not her. I'm talking about the little. I mean, like tiny scene of between Charlie and Tommy Dogs when they're cooking, or the Johnny Dogs when they're
Oh yeah,
cooking
yeah,
when
yeah,
they're
yeah.
cooking the food. I mean, I just thought that was a really nice little moment. Pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aberama's kind of walking around. He's liking what he's seeing. Of course, he just walks straight up to Charlie. And he says, "I like your yard. How much for it?" Of course, Charlie's like, "It's not for sale." And of course, he was kind of like, "Okay," but you can tell he's like, no, he really wants it. So he goes over to Tommy, and he tells him, "Hey, I like the yard. There's like one of the things he says something about was like a fire pit or whatever for melting silver and gold or whatever, and just a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of different nice areas that
The
Charlie's got
water,
there.
like that it
The
backed up to the
water,
water.
yeah, and of course, Tommy's like, it's not for sale. This was passed down from like generation to generation to generation. When they came here, this was theirs. They
Yeah.
made it their own, and so on and so forth. But I like the whole thing of, he calls him over and he's like, Charlie, we're gonna flip for this, for the yard. And because it's like he was saying, Abraham was talking about, well, I'm gonna get this yard because it's now part of our agreement. And you can
Yeah.
tell that to him or whatever. So that's when
Yeah.
he was saying to Charlie, "Hey, we're gonna flip for your yard." And of course, it's a deal of, if we lose, he gets the yard, but if we win, I get your daughter. And you could definitely tell that bothered Aberama as the conversation went on. And I think they
Well,
kind of
he
took it.
just
He
well,
took it more of as a joke at the very beginning, I feel like, and because then he had to get Arthur to explain it's like this: the coin toss is sacred. It's
yeah.
it's not a joke. We mean business. When we say that this is the bet, this is the bet. And whatever the coin says is gonna be. If it goes my way, then I'm gonna have my way with your daughter or whatever. And you could just tell he's like slowly like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this. And I think Tommy knew that if he goes this route, that he's probably gonna back out. And I think even if he didn't back out, he'll still flip the coin and take a 50-50 chance on that.
Yeah. Well, I think because Aberama wanted something that was like super valuable, to
Right.
them. And so he just picked something that was like even more valuable to Aberama, pretty
Right.
quickly, like on the fly there.
Right.
So
Of course, when he finally backs down, he tells him no wager today, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to buy some flowers with it so I can put it on your grave when the time comes. And I always found that funny because knowing what we know in the next season, it's like, yeah, you're not going to make it to that. You're not going to be able to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah. What he said something after that. Oh, of course, Tommy was, telling it's like, while you're here and we're doing this business, like don't disrespect me or my friend's stuff. This is our lives, this is our business. It's like you don't come in here invited and act like it's nothing,
Yeah. I mean, he definitely
So
came in there kind of trying to test the water,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can tell
see
he
what they
is.
could get away with, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
And then we have Christmas dinner.
Yeah, and then they have a weird like dinner out there. You might as well tell the Johnny Dogs bit too, since you were
I
talking
don't
about
remember.
that.
Well, the thing I can think of is he's cooking the goose, and he's trying to
Yeah.
tell Charlie, do this and that with. I think he was talking about like what do you call that when you um put like a chicken or whatever or hog and you over the fire and you kind of turn it. What do you call that?
Yeah, it's like rotisserie.
Yeah, rotisserie or whatever. Because I think he's describing that basically. It's like, you do this and that, and then you take the rod and you shove it up the goose's butt, and whatever. Of course, he's
Yeah,
talking
they
about. Then
chain
he's
it
talking
up,
about
and then he's
the
like, you turn it so it doesn't burn.
yeah. Then he's talking about like something about the potatoes or whatever. And of course, Charlie's just like, "What are you talking about?" And it goes back to the whole thing that he said at the beginning at the family meeting about bringing Aberama Golden. He's like, I want to make sure that these guys know that we're I don't think he said high class, but basically like kind of we're not dirt like they think we are. Because there's kind of
Yeah.
this like tension between, Aberama's group and the Lees and Johnny Dogs,
Yeah, he said
families and
that they
everything
don't
like
even
that.
let their family like into the fair because they
Right.
steal horses from them.
Right, exactly. So it's just that interchange between the two of them I thought was pretty good. And nice little moment for them to get on camera.
Yeah. They, did you get the potatoes? Like, no, I didn't get potatoes.
I'll do it myself. Bring in the ladies.
Yeah. While they're having the dinner, who's it? It's Ada, Lizzie, and Polly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all get escorted in,
Yeah, Linda's
and
on hunger strike.
she's on hunger strike.
Well, she didn't come to dinner, so
Oh. Um, and this is like the first chance that Tommy and Polly kind of have to talk relatively civilly. Um, it doesn't start out that way. They're both pretty mad at each other, but by the end of the conversation, she's, you know, what does she tell him to do? She says, "You're only going to hire men for the factories whose families you know."
You're gonna get Lizzie to vet your
Vet
whores
all
or
his
whatever.
prostitutes,
Yeah.
basically.
Which I
Yeah.
mean, but that it makes sense that again, it's like going back to what Michael was saying. It's like they need each other. I mean, obviously he's just kind of like loose with all that stuff, and he needs her
Yeah.
to remind him. It's like
And
you need to make sure to check all this stuff, man.
yeah. Well, she tells them they're going to go after our weaknesses.
Right.
Like, they're going to
Your
go.
weakness right now is your women. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I just thought earlier, when like you're saying at the beginning of their conversation, it's pretty tense. And of course he's mad because he feels like he's lost her with all the tablets and the seances and everything because he says their mom went the same way. And of course she's like, I'm not going that way, because I see differently, blah, blah, blah. And I hate the line though that she says about I'm like you and you and Arthur now about like I died in that noose, and it's like, no, I mean, like I get it, you had that experience, but like what they had was something you'll never ever be able to understand. I mean,
Yeah.
because the war is a whole totally different thing from anything else you could ever experience, let alone being left trapped in a hole, basically surrounded by the enemy after the whole army retreated and they got trapped there with no bullets left, no ammo, nothing like that. It's just waiting to die for the cavalry that never came.
Yeah.
So that's just, I don't know, that always bothered me when she said that. It was like she's acting like she's on the same level as them now. It's like, no, I mean, you had your own experience and that's something totally different.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and then Polly just kind of gives him some advice and her basis for a plan here. Oh yeah, she also tells Tommy that Abrahamagol didn't come here just for this business, like that there's something else that he wants from them, but she doesn't know what.
Ask him what he really wants.
um, so Tommy goes to sit down with him, and
I
they
like how
talk
he turned it
about,
back on him. It's like he's looking at the horse that Bonnie's grooming or whatever. He's like, it's a nice horse. He's like, nothing you see here is for sale.
yeah, like, all right, asshole, like didn't
I
come
just
to
want to
buy the
make sure
horse.
we're on the same page here, man.
Yeah. But he goes to talk to him, and they tell him that Bonnie wants to be a boxer. Um, they say he's good, and uh, Tommy's just he wants to test him out.
Yeah.
Um,
The reason I'm smiling is because I just had the thought of, I just watched the other day the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with Clown Baby, the underground street fighting, and the
yeah,
part when they get Charlie to agree to him, to fight or whatever, and he's in the apartment, he's just like, I
yeah,
always
where he's
think
just
of
like,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I always think of that when I see Bonnie doing, trying to do his thing or whatever. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's Charlie Jr.
yeah. It is kind of a funny little like shadow boxing
Yeah.
little moment there. Um, yeah, because it's like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I could see like you've got good form or whatever, but that you're quick, but you're also like not fighting anybody. Like, is this supposed to be the
Well,
demonstration? You
well, you
know?
kick that Shadow's butt, man.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, that's what they want from Tommy, is that they know Tommy is, what does he call him, a sporting man.
Mm.
So he
He's
knows they do
connected.
horse races and they've done fights and stuff, and he wants Tommy to make that happen for him. Um, Moss goes to see Tommy, but Linda's the only one at the house. And I had forgotten about this little plot thread, but that he lets her know that there's where did they come down from? London?
Yeah, probably so.
The men have come down from London, and they have a list of basically people that they feel like are going to be fueling this revolution. And Ada's, where they say she's at the top of the list. She's like number
She's
one.
a name on there at least. Just
Oh,
because, I
okay.
mean, there's a red flag on her name because she just came back from America, and they're just really
Yeah.
thinking that it's coincidence that she's come over at the same time that all this stuff is really ramping up.
Yeah.
So it's a person of
Um,
interest.
yeah. When Moss tells her about it, she kind of warns her of what's coming. He says these guys are all military men, so they're not messing around about this. Tommy goes to the factory and has them set up a ring. It's funny, like his assistant's like trying to tell him all that like important stuff. Um, about the day and about the strike that's about to happen. Um, and he's just like, yeah, will you find me some rope and a bell?
Yeah, that's nice.
And
That's nice. Can you get a boxing match going here or what?
yeah, so they rope off an area of the factory floor, and um, there's a guy there that he knows who's a heavyweight
A
boxing
former heavyweight
champion.
champion, yeah.
Yeah, former. He just works there now.
Because now I work for
Um,
you.
for too little money.
Yep, for too little money. Here, is this enough?
Yeah. So he tells him that he wants him to fight Bonnie, and the guy's kind of hesitant because Bonnie's pretty small. He says he's a welterweight at best, but I don't know. I think he could have been like a lightweight.
I would think more of a lightweight.
Yeah. Um,
But either way,
yeah.
he challenged him. He wanted him, so.
Yeah. So Bonnie fights him and just absolutely kicks his ass. They were stalling it at first, but once Aberama told him to finish it off, he finished it pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
Um, so is this when Jesse Eden comes in?
Yes, yeah. Because she's waiting for him up there. It's like his
Okay.
first meeting, I guess, for the day. Because at the same
Yeah.
time that his assistant goes up there to, let her know he's coming on his way or whatever, he'll be here in a second, is the same at the same time. Tommy pulls Arthur to the side about, taking the kid on, and he could be good. We could make some money on the side at the time being. Of course, Arthur's concerned about taking that on with everything else that they've got going on, mainly the vendetta is what he's talking
Yeah.
about. And Tommy makes a really good point, unfortunately, that he could be somebody that takes a bullet for you one day, because like we've already lost one brother. I don't need to lose another. And I don't think that's the only way that Tommy thinks about anybody that comes into their company or gang or whatever. But it's kind of a harsh thing to think about. Somebody is like, hey man, we could use this dude as a shield.
Yeah.
But
But that's kind of how they're thinking right now, like with their family on the line.
right, yeah, and I get it. Make some money off of it too, so
yeah. So Jesse Eden comes talk with Tommy. And it's basically just more of the same from her. When we saw her before, she says that the last time they talked, that he said that nobody would go out on strike because it had been a cold winter, and
well, he's cut the pay now too. He did what he said he was going to do, and then of course, he was just like, whatever, let's just do it. He got it. Feel like it. I think he's like, you got a whistle? Well, blow it then. It's like he doesn't care. I mean, and I think, I don't know. Do you think that he was still calling her bluff that she would do it, or do you just think like he knew was inevitable and he just didn't care, or both in the end?
I mean, it seemed like he needed it to happen at this point.
Yeah,
like that he wanted it to happen.
It was funny. Well, think about it. He did say the line about if I think he said like Law and Order or whatever breaks down in Birmingham, that would, I'm saying it wrong, or like I'm not really, kind of butchering it, I guess. But he's basically saying if it were to break down in Birmingham, then that would be of use for my family in certain ways that you can't understand.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes for a good distraction, I think, and I don't know. It's just good timing, I guess. Interesting to see how
Yeah.
that works because I don't remember. I can't remember how it goes down, but or how that plays into it.
Yeah. I did like how he ended that though. Then just blow the whistle. Just blow your
Yeah,
whistle.
just do it. Just do it.
Just get out. So she does. She calls for a strike and everybody heads out. And then and a French gentleman from
What was
Paris.
his Monsieur Pays? Something like that. I can't remember what his
Yeah, I
name is.
don't remember what it was.
Monsieur something. I don't think you're French.
Yeah.
It's an interesting accent you got there. What part of France are you from?
Right.
The Italian part,
Bronx?
the Bronx. Well, you know what they say. Paris is like the Bronx of France.
I don't know who says that. So it's Luca Changretta.
What?
He's come in. Yeah, he's come in to
No,
just
no,
kind of
no, no.
show.
No, I thought it was Monsieur from the European Trade Council. He's not there
No,
to talk
turns
trade.
out that guy doesn't exist.
What?
Yeah. um, so Luca's basically just come there to kind of flex on him. Oh,
Show him, yeah, show them what they can do and whatnot. Because I mean, think about all the different things that he got in the room with him. Of course,
yeah,
he told him, "Yo, do you know how I can't believe how easy it is to get in a room by myself with you?" And then the whole thing of sending in a accomplice in overalls while the factory was doing, I think, the boxing thing, or
yeah,
maybe it had to be the boxing thing, to come
yeah,
into his office, find his gun, and empty it.
yep,
And then talking about the whole thing of, it's like, I didn't even have to send you a black hand, dude. I could have had you killed in the night and you wouldn't even know what hit you.
yeah,
You wouldn't even know why you got killed or by who or whatever. But it's like he says in the end, it's like, my mom told me that the best way to hurt you and to kill you is by killing your family
yeah.
first
Take
and
everybody
then
else
killing
out.
you. Yeah, take everything else away from you, which I mean makes sense because he's very family oriented.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I mean, they've clearly got the upper hand on them right now. They're fighting. What do you say? This is a whole nother thing that you couldn't possibly comprehend. Like we're on another level. Like
Right. Well, he said we're an organization of a different dimension, I think.
yeah, that's it. That was it.
Which I mean, it is. I mean, you're talking about the mafia, man. You're just like some small time little gang. I mean, we're talking about something that's been around for years upon years upon years.
Yeah.
And in some different, maybe different ways. Maybe it wasn't always just called the mafia, or whatever, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dropping some knowledge.
But nothing happens between them. They basically just make an agreement to fight this war between them with at least some honor. They make the rules that there'll be no killing of civilians, children, or what was the other one?
No women, no children, no police.
Oh yeah, and that they weren't gonna like use the police, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which then when I see that scene, I always think of the scene of Gangs in New York when they're meeting to make the terms of their fight, and he's talking about what rocks, chisels, knives. And then he says something about guns. He's like, no guns. Good boy.
Yeah. Pistols. He like does it as a test, like to test
Pistols?
him. You know, like, pistols.
No pistols. Good
Yeah.
boy.
Oh my god, he's too scary of an actor. He's too good.
Yeah. It's probably best that he retired. He was too much for us.
Yeah, but hasn't he retired before and like come back and done another movie? Didn't he like retire before Lincoln or something?
Yes, I was about to say he may have done that before Lincoln, then came back and did Lincoln, then retired.
Yeah.
The world needs Daniel Day-Lewis.
Gangs of New York 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh no. Okay, I'd like to know how that one goes.
Reroll.
Alrighty. Oh dear Lord.
Yeah, they lay down the rules and now they're gonna fight this war. Which is a little weird because if I was Tommy, I would have probably just taken my chances with taking him like right there.
Yeah, but what?
Yeah.
Just like you just gonna bare knuckle him? Because I mean,
Yeah,
he's
I
probably got a
guess.
got because you don't have a gun.
I'm gonna
He's
bring
probably
up
got a
some
knife or a
shit.
gun. He's probably got a bunch of different weapons on him.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'm letting him walk out of that room, you know?
Yeah,
Like
I
the
mean, I get it,
opportunity's
but
there, like you might not see him coming next time.
I mean, I get that, but again, it's like you don't have any weapons. He's taking all your bullets away, so it's like you're taking a chance of just like trying to fight him with your fist, whereas like he could just easily just pull a gun out and shoot you.
He
Don't
grab a
bring
chair
look.
or
Don't bring a knife to a gunfight, bro.
he grabs his razor. Oh no, he doesn't even have his razor cap because he gave it to
No,
fucking
was it? He
Bonnie.
hadn't worn a razor cap in a while, man, since the funeral actually.
He had that razor. He had his razor cap, but he gave it to
Was it?
Bonnie.
Oh, was that his? Okay,
It was in his pocket.
should shout it, Bonnie.
Bonnie, get in here. Yeah, he did have the upper hand on him there for sure. And you know, we know Tommy's going to make a plan to try to best him.
Right.
You know, fight their way and win. You know, fight when the odds are more in their favor.
Right.
So then after that, we just have a little scene between Arthur and Tommy. They're talking about the smell of Birmingham. And then, yeah, I just love how Arthur was like, it's the smell, you know? It's like, it feels right. And Tommy's like, what, the shit house?
Yes.
Like, yeah, and I just put like the smell of home, you know?
Yeah.
And he said it's the smell that brings it all back, that like I think makes them those people that they need to be to win this war, you know?
Right.
Because they've gotten away from who they were. And, you know, in the last episode, Michael was telling John about how we're not the group if the group is not together, you know?
They become too lax.
Yeah, and they got to get back to that place. You know, Arthur, who's somebody who was like really somebody to be feared, got to the place where he was like, you know, not dangerous at all.
He had long flowing hair.
Yeah. Kind of same with John too. Like John was just like lost his edge, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just got to get back to those people that they were. They got to get into that headspace if they're going to do what they need to do to survive here. And yeah, in the end, they just talked about how basically that the people you lose are just gone, you know, like, and either, you know, it's kind of an interesting way of looking at that because they talked about, you know, is John in heaven? He's like, no, he's probably in hell. And then Tommy said, no, he's just gone, you know, and in a lot of ways, like that's true. Like no matter what you believe, because in our existence, like in
He's
this
just
life,
not here,
like
man.
yeah, that person is just gone.
Yeah.
So, and I think it helped Arthur like show him that he was feeling it just as much too, because he related, Grace, like what
Right.
happened with
Yeah.
her and how she's just gone. Like one day they're just gone. So, um, yeah, that's just the end of the episode. Tommy pulls out his gun and unloads a few shots into a barrel down the alley, and yeah, um, they're gonna cry havoc and let slip the dogs of
The
war.
dogs of war. All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right.
Well,
By the way, did
uh,
I tell you that Matthew McConaughey is in the new season of Peaky Blinders?
no, he's not.
No, I'm just kidding. That's gonna be his
Like,
first
shut
line. He
up.
comes.
I don't
He's
want
like,
to know.
he's like, hey, Tommy. All right, all right, all right.
All right, all right, all right.
Could you even imagine?
Did you
I mean, like,
know
start.
that time is a bookshelf?
I was like, just start thinking about like some of the worst people that could like star on that show, like
I don't
Matthew
want to see
McConaughey.
any big names besides the ones that are already on there. Like
Well,
America side, like
oh,
Cillian
okay.
Murphy and Tom Hardy are the only ones I want to see on there. And then who's the other one? Is that the guy who plays Abraham Gold?
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is. The dude who played on um he was in Gangs in New York. Um he's been on a bunch of different things. He was on Taboo with Tom Hardy. He was the guy that had the map tattooed on his head. He's kind of a big name
Yeah,
over in England. I can't remember what his name is. He's supposed to play Al Capone, I think, in the new season.
he plays
Is it Al Capone? He's playing
Shane
somebody.
in Gangs of New York,
Gangs in New
right?
York. Yeah. Yeah.
He plays Al Capone in Boardwalk Empire.
I think that's what I'm thinking. Okay. So, but he's in the new season
Okay,
playing somebody. I don't remember who, though, then.
yeah, he's really good in Boardwalk
Yeah.
Empire too.
No, he's a good actor overall. Yeah.
Yeah, he plays like a
But
really young Al Capone when he's just kind of like starting out in somebody else's crew.
right. I just remember hearing it. They're not in the new season, thankfully. But like I remember hearing, I think maybe before the 5th season came out, that like I think it was like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were like interested in joining for a season or something. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good, man.
No, I don't want to see. No, 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 no. I don't want to
What
see
about
any of like the elite actors up there. Like, no, thank you.
what about oh man, I can't think of his name. He was the dang it. He's an English actor too. Um he was on The Office for several episodes. Um he
Ian
was the
McKellen.
black guy that no, he was the black guy that didn't like Jim.
His name is Charles Minor in the show, but I don't know his
Yeah,
name.
and I can't remember what his name is in real life. He's a pretty good actor though. Oh man. Steve Carell. There you go. How about that one?
No, nobody
Man.
who's been in anything like really funny. I need some serious dramatic actors in this show.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. No,
Ben Affleck.
maybe Matt Damon's character in Interstellar.
No, I was thinking more Matt Damon from
Because he's a real
Good Will
nut job in
Hunting.
that movie. Oh, okay.
He'd be like, "Hey Tommy, how about them apples?"
All right. Well, that is it for season 4, episode 2. We'll be back next week for episode 3. Do you know the episode title?
I think it's called Blackbird.
Blackbird.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, until then, make sure to follow us on the YouTube at Red Right Hand Podcast, and is Survived by Productions. And you can follow us on Twitter at Red Right Hand PO1 and my personal at Joshua Lynn Gary. See you next week.
See ya.
Hi.